Righty, good people. NFL draft. Round one was last night. Um, First, we'll start with my hometown Lions. They drafted Penei Sewell, the offensive tackle out of Oregon. I liked it. I really did. I think that he's a plug and play offensive lineman. Taylor Decker, who's our left tackle, had a pretty solid season. Um, but with Sewell, I think you could play him in different spots. It just gives you flexibility. Big believer of building your team inside out. So start with O line. I know we need a young quarterback, but if you have a O line that's awful, then once you get your young quarterback and he's getting beat up all to hell, then it's really pointless, no good. So, if you're a Lions fan, you probably feel pretty good that we're not the laughing stock of the NFL and NFL fandom. We had a solid draft pick. It was something that you can't really bash. The biggest thing you say is not sexy, which, okay, I'm fine. I'll take that. But the Panthers at 8, I felt like they were kind of the Lions of normal. They drafted J.C. Horn, and it's not that J.C. Horn's not going to be a solid player. I think he will be. He's pretty talented. But at number 8, I felt like they could have gone some other directions, and I also felt like Sam Darnold's going to need some weapons. Like they have McCaffrey is coming back. They got DJ Moore, but they need a little. They need a little more. I even could have gone O line help at that point. I think Slater was still on the board. It just, I do your thing, Panthers. But like you reach to me, corner in top 10 is luxury pick. Like unless you have an absolute need, it's a luxury pick to me. I don't think that that's something that necessarily have to go with because you can do a lot of things coverage wise to hide a corner if he's not great. Obviously, bad corner play is bad corner play, but I just felt like it was something you could probably address in the second round, and there was still plenty of talent in the first round, especially at number 8. But you could also say that on the flip side that there will be an O lineman available in the second round or offensive weapon. So uh, yeah, that's interesting. Chicago Bears trade up to number 10 or 12, but they end up with Justin Fields, which, if you're a Lions fan, so I will say, number one, I did want Justin Fields, but it's a difficult spot because Jared Goff still has 1, maybe 2 years that he's most likely gonna be on our roster. So you don't want to have a quarterback sit for 2 years, like so, because that clock gets ticking as soon as they're there. You want them on that rookie deal, which is 5 years, essentially with the 5th year option. But he gets drafted to Chicago, so he's going to probably end up terrorizing us for the next 10 years. Um, I thought it was a great pickup for them. That was a huge, huge need for them. And I really don't think they gave up a ton to get there. Um, just to me, I look at Trey Lance and Justin Fields, and number one, I think Fields is better. He has played more games. I think he's more polished as far as his footwork. The upside of Trey Lance, I think, is a bit higher, but I think if Justin Fields and Trey Lance are both playing at A+ level, I just don't think there's going to be a big difference. I think, honestly, Fields is probably a little bit better. But when you look at what San Francisco gave up to get Trey Lance versus what Chicago gave up to get Justin Fields, I think Chicago got the better end of it. Now, granted, San Francisco is built and ready to win right now, so they can afford to do that. But I thought Chicago hit a home run with drafting Justin Fields. New England gets Mac Jones. They didn't have to move at all. He ends up falling to 15, um, which is fine, which is good. I'm an Alabama fan, so I was rooting for Mac, and it's crazy because I saw some of our experts on Twitter that were, just like, oh, people said Mac Jones was going 3, blah blah blah. He didn't go 3, and he's falling down the board. I'm like, Yeah, like okay, yeah, he's not drafted at 3, but I wouldn't call getting drafted at 15 falling down the board. And also this time last year, what did we think Mac Jones was going to be? Like no one really knew much of anything. He had started a handful of games, and at that point it was just like, oh well, he's going to be the stopgap for Bryce Young, and he's the number 15 pick. So I think we're doing okay. Also, while I'm on it, can we just admit the fact that these experts don't know anything? Like they don't know anything because 2 days ago it was 99% sure San Francisco was going with Mac Jones. And granted, my thing is, at the end of the day, we're all just guessing. Everybody's guessing. You don't know what these teams are gonna do. You don't know what their draft board looks like. Hyper and McShay, you guys are great, whatever. But we're truly just guessing. And if that's the case, like let's stop with the expert thing. Like you guys aren't experts. You guys are good at guessing, which what everyone does. Because like I said, 2 days ago, they were all sure Mac Jones is going to be the pick. Mac Jones is going to be the pick. And really, I would say more former players were more spot on than the quote unquote experts. Jeff Schwartz is a former offensive lineman. He was on Colin Cowherd's show, I believe yesterday, but he had just mentioned he's just like, I just don't think it's Mac Jones. I don't think it is. He's like, you don't give up that much for a guy who's just a traditional pocket passer, which ends up they didn't do that. So pretty interesting day one for the Lions. I hope that we continue the trend of not screwing it up in the second round, and we'll see what happens. But like, subscribe. You can check me out on Instagram at All Go Podcast 1, as well as Twitter, same handle at All Go Podcast, the number 1. I appreciate it. Peace.